like to call to order the June 16th, 2015 meeting of the Manchester Planning and Zoning Commission. Before we get to the items on the agenda, I'd just like to welcome Councilman Dale Wilder to the commission as the new council representative to the commission.
Great.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to working with you.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Welcome.
I served on planning and zoning 13 years ago, and I enjoyed it then. I'm looking forward to enjoying it again.
Great, and just, I'll take a moment to thank former Councilwoman Tammy Black for her service on the board.
Absolutely.
So, okay, the first item in the agenda is a review and approval of the minutes from the April 21st meeting. Everybody take a moment to look at those and see if they have any comments or changes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, let's go to the reports. Board of Zoning Appeals, Michelle.
We have the cases, we've had no cases since we last met. I've gotten a call about one possibly next month, but haven't seen it, so I have the application for that. As far as the town goes, our new building, the new specs have gone out, so bid with June 30th, June, approved it, according to the tenants out. As far as the town, the town, I don't really do anything with council,
I don't know, what kind of, was Tammy bringing anything particular to this, to the commission?
Normally Steve Miller will report for what happened at council meetings because he does talk there, but
Right, and then Tammy would just elaborate on certain points if she felt it necessary.
Okay.
So,
I was not attending to the council meetings.
I can't think of anything particular that's, that I would bring forward, but I'll do that, and as
Okay.
future meetings, as things that I think might be of interest to P and Z, I'll bring that forward.
Okay, thank you. County report. Hello, Bobby, how are you?
Good evening, I'm good, thank you. I have nothing to report this
Well, we appreciate your attendance at the meeting then.
I want to make one interjection on the county side. We had that combined meeting of all the
right.
municipalities, and myself and Larry and Tammy went, and it was a great meeting. We had Sykesville was there, Tawnytown was there, we were there, Union Bridge, I'm missing one. New Windsor was there, and great meeting. There was more state people than I've ever seen in my life at
Really?
one meeting. We had transportation there. We had it's unbelievable the amount of maps and details that are out there on Maryland websites that we have access to, from anywhere from the geological to what have you. They spent some time on, of course, the master plan and details and a little bit of why it was approved and wasn't approved. But we did have probably an hour-long discussion with the transportation issues in the county, because we had the actual state guy there that coordinates who's getting money and what money. And a lot of discussion was centered around 32 and 97, of course, because they were well represented. But I was able to interject quite a bit about our traffic situation going through Manchester morning and evenings, and the discussion came up on the building in front of the nursing home, and Bobby and I had discussion with it as well, that the house that was tried to purchase to make that wider going south, had no idea. They've already spent, did he say $800,000 in research trying to figure out how to buy that house in front of the nursing home and make that turn going to 27. I was completely unaware.
Probably feasibility
It
studies.
was feasibility studies, traffic surveys, and that type of thing. And I think everybody in the room was shocked when he told us Now, that was the county gentleman, so the county engineer was there for the roads, the state was there. But one thing that was neat, and I wanted to bring this back to Michelle, is he did discuss at length, when you're trying to do road projects, the key is now to break them up in tiny chunks. When you're writing, to get approvals, instead of trying to hit them for a $25 million job, and expand 32 all the way to Foreverland, or 100 million or 200 million, break it up in little 1 mile chunks, and you might get a little bit better approval rate from the state. When a lot of different facts and type of thing. One of the one that disturbed me the most of the whole meeting is there was, in the county, last year in fiscal 14, there was 27 business permits. And that kind of floored me. 27. Now, that wasn't use and occupancy changes, but that was changes for building permits for new construction for businesses. 27 in the whole county. And I interjected and I said, I would think that there's somebody needs to focus on that for some type of reason, because we've been trying to bring business in. But there's a huge amount of information that was disseminated in a few hours, and it was just a really good meeting.
Are they gonna have a follow-up
Yeah,
meeting?
so what we've planned to do is try and have twice a year.
Okay,
Now, they all want to come out and meet with us once a year on a town-by-town level and do more like a meet and greet, which would be nice. So the forum's open. They were discussing about a group email so we could communicate with we could send something to Tawnytown for advice on something where they've just done all the water and sewer through the main street. What would make it easy if we need to redo Maiden Lane? I think that's been proposed several times, to redo the utilities on Maiden Lane and different, that study we just had done for the water and sewer. But it was first time ever. It was a great meeting. 4 hours and 45 minutes later, we adjourned. Nobody was expecting that. But it was a lot of information.
good.
So.
The next item on the agenda is Woodhaven, Halley Hill Lot 46 subdivision.
Okay, I sent you all a copy of the plat, that they would like to subdivide,
Mhm.
along with a little bit of background. This was recorded in 2002. And based upon our code at the time, the provincial plan wasn't required to be, which I gave you a copy of the old code, so you can
Right.
see what we've done with that. So, based on 2 units per acre, 20,000. I think 76 is the calculation, that's what they had with the originally, we put 71 lots in. So technically, yes, they can subdivide around these 2 lots. So that was the background back before today was, because I wasn't sure how it was going, I was not here going out
Okay.
in this capacity during that subdivision.
I was here.
I also, wanted you to know that because Steve was not here this evening, and I knew that would be the next question for everybody, I did get a letter from Steve that, the additional lots would have no impact on the existing water and sewer systems. And that is
I'm sorry, no impact on what?
the
Water and sewer.
system. We would be adding 2 units.
Would they be subject to the new fee?
Yes, they would be subject to the new fee. How do you know?
Mr. Hackett, is there anything you'd like to add at this point? Come up to the microphone. So
Yeah, Marty Hackett, CLSI. I met with Steve and Michelle probably a month or 2 ago regarding this, and then what we did was we asked if we present it to the Planning Commission before we really start an official process of the concept and all, and really start spending dollars to make sure that, if there was any questions or anything like that. But I know Steve and Michelle, as she said, they've gone through it and felt we felt we were okay to do the re-subdivision of Lot 46, but we wanted obviously the empowering body to check it out first, and that's really the only reason why we're here.
Okay, so you just want an affirmation that you can do 3 lots?
And then that's correct, it's 2 additional lots.
Right.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Anything unusual in the planning for these 3 particular lots? Consistent with everything else in the area?
Yes, it is. It's all consistent.
Are there any other portions of the original subdivision which could be further re-subdivided at a future date?
I don't believe so. The project's pretty much complete. This was an anomaly just in the middle of the subdivision because it was an existing house and it was a larger lot. Excuse me.
So all I did was just give a, that I received, and I
We don't need a formal vote, just, I don't think so.
I think it's just a discussion at this
Just a
point in
discussion.
time.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna have to go through the county and we'll be back.
Right, and then they'll be back with the plan in front of us, correctly, correct.
I mean, based on lot size and number of lots, I don't see
Right.
any issues.
Martin Hill, Woodhaven Building and Development. Just to give you a little understanding of why we're doing this, as Marty had said, this was an existing house, had a pool, had some outbuildings and all. So the lot area was created to be able to accommodate all that. We've rented that property for 20-some years. I don't know if you have any experience in renting property long-term. There's the good side and the bad side. After 20-some years in renting an old farmhouse that had been upgraded, it just doesn't have the value to justify putting the kind of money into it that it would take to be compatible with the community. So we looked at it and said, if we could do 3 lots, 2 more lots, create lots consistent with the size of the rest of the community and build houses that are similar, it's a win-win for everyone, and we don't have to deal with an old rental house. Thank you.
So would both houses be torn down or just one of the 2 houses?
Oh, there's only one house
Just
there.
one house?
So
Okay.
one house in that lot, and we'll be adding 3 new ones.
Right, we would tear down
Two.
what's there.
Create
So we would wind up with 3 vacant lots. One would be to replace what's there, we already have water and sewer, and then the other 2 would be new lots that we would have to deal with water and sewer with the town.
Anything else, Michelle?
My only comments for consideration would be to make sure we do a proper evaluation of the lot sizes, so we're not dealing with future BZA cases for decks, additions, et cetera. Let's take that into account as we go through here. Pay close attention to orientation of houses, how they orient to the neighborhood, as well as how the existing houses, which, again, I know you know all this, it's just trying to avoid future comments, that's all. Appreciate you coming in.
Yep. And other
Look
than
forward
that-
to receiving the full package.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the final item on the agenda is the town police building.
Okay.
Michelle?
The town, in front of you, you have the revised plan. Because our stormwater management originally was supposed to be handled out in the front parking area, and
As an infiltration,
yes, and it wouldn't.
infiltrate.
So now it will be sent to the back where it will infiltrate.
Okay,
So that is what these new plans are supposed to be showing, we dropped them off to you today, so provided it. So what we're looking for is final approval on this site plan, so that the, mayor and council can have it presented to them in July for approval to actually be able to accept and approve.
So I'm assuming, Michelle, these comments here for stormwater management, are these from the county?
They are from Doug Barboy, who is.
Oh,
also-
okay.
Yes, from the county. He's working with my,
With Myron?
With Myron, and this is the way that Myron has requested we do it. I do not have the final in hand, so any approval tonight will be contingent on.
The final stormwater management approval, okay.
Absolutely. All the other, entities have given final approval.
Bobby, does that include your comments on the sidewalks and that parking on the left side?
Haven't seen it in the last one, so.
Okay. Maybe I do send it on to. As far as the comments on the sidewalk, and I had the minutes that, commission member wants me to want us to be sure it was approved contingent on us working towards that.
Right.
It did go back to the fire department, one of their meetings. They were not interested in us putting our sidewalk on their property for a few reasons. One, limited liability people on the property. They don't want to maintain as far as shoveling it or repairing it. So, with that being said, it was discussed that they would think about something else. There's gonna be some way to connect York Street to, back to the Park Center. And it may end up just going there, what is that standing? The one that goes through the right now, we just don't have it, but it is, they know that they are going to work on it. That's what we have to do. If that's where it went. Unfortunately, we don't know where the property would get back to them.
Okay. But how about the, like, for lack of use of better terms, the ADA portions are where, I think one of the comments, they wanted them 5 feet versus 4.
Our sidewalk?
Yeah. I think it was in particular, I think it was on this front section on Victory Street where there were some issues.
I know there were some comments about the sidewalk running in front of the building and the width of that.
Yeah.
Parallel to
Building is
Christmas, and it's,
how feet is that?
I believe that's adequate, but there was early
Okay.
questions about that one. Can't quite read these drawings.
I know that all cars are just, one of our best, definitely.
Okay.
If you're referring to the width of sidewalk, I think we recently modified and it's pretty flat.
Right.
Okay. What was the word?
ADA also requires signing for not parking in the stripes now, which does not appear on here.
Well, if you make that under detail, up here, is there something else?
Yes, the one on 5.8.
So they need to have,
There's a supplemental sign that says no parking in aisle and points to it.
What was the rear lot issue?
The rear,
Grade?
the rear lot is the BRL and the property lines,
Oh, the front, yeah.
but it will be consolidated with the
Right. Right.
other property, so
Yeah,
that's,
that issue's no
That's not
longer.
right.
it's
Okay.
not. it's not okay. Something for consideration, maybe it's been discussed and I'm not seeing it on here. Emergency generator?
I know that we had talked about that and possibly looking for grants for
Okay.
emergency generators for all of our facilities.
I mean, there's a concrete pad in the rear which appears to be large enough to house one. I'm just curious more than anything else.
And I definitely know, because one of the intents of combining that conference room and council room together was so that it could be used for emergency, so. definitely.
So the RFP's gone out? No question, all right.
And we're still, we're still doing that. But that sign, I will definitely call him tomorrow about that, because I could've sworn we already knew that, so it should have.
Yeah, and they did add the note on there about all sidewalks being a minimum of 5 feet wide.
You can read that. Very good.
Actually, these notes I can read. Okay. Good.
That's perfect news.
So the only really outstanding issue at this point is the stormwater management?
Yes.
Just getting the final approval from the county on
Yes.
that?
Because we had to revisit it.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just, Michelle, refresh my memory on some of the discussion on the landscape. I drive by, it appears to be very flat, but yet much of the back of the building is exposed. It's like they're tapering, they're gonna be tapering off.
Yeah, by the grading on this, and if you, I don't know if you have go to the last page.
I'm looking at the last page.
Yes, by the grading on this, yes, you will be street level to come into the building, so it's handicap accessible from the front, it's also handicap accessible from the park side where the handicap parking is. The other side does slope down, there will be a ramp and, steps, and that's on the police department side.
And then the rear's intention of use is employee only,
Yes, yes,
and that's where all the elevation issues are, you know, the difference
yes.
in the back. So that back section in there, pretty much where the tennis courts, behind them, where, you know, pretty much where the fuel pump is now.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be employee
That'd
parking.
be employee parking in there.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the site plans for the Manchester Town Hall building be approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Uh,
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Good night, everyone.